There are moments in life when you feel the heaviness of unseen battles pressing against your skin. It is as though the air itself is weighed down. Your steps are slower, your thoughts clouded, and your nights disturbed. In those moments, a bath is not just about washing the body, it becomes a gateway for renewal. Water has always been more than a liquid for thirst. It has been an element of cleansing, of new beginnings, of spiritual resets. And when water is joined with basil, the bath becomes more than ordinary. It becomes a ritual of release, a channel of purification, and a path into peace. Basil is no stranger to sacred use. Its green leaves hold both fragrance and healing oils. Across generations, people have recognized that its properties extend beyond the physical. When boiled, when soaked, when infused in water, basil releases more than a scent. It releases a force of calm, a covering of purity, and a subtle shield of protection. To step into a basil bath is to step into a space where the body, mind, and spirit align with cleansing. It is a ritual not of superstition, but of faith. Faith that God has placed healing even in the leaves. Faith that the act of bathing can be turned into a prayer. And faith that what was heavy can be washed away. Picture the beginning of such a ritual. You gather fresh basil leaves, bright and green, filled with life. You place them into a pot of clean water, letting them soak or boil until the water carries their essence. The steam rises, carrying the fragrance through the room, and already the atmosphere shifts. As you pour this water into your bath, you are not just preparing for hygiene, you are preparing for release. Every leaf becomes a witness, every drop of water becomes a carrier of renewal. In that moment, you declare with Psalm 51, 2, wash me thoroughly from mine iniquity and cleanse me from my sin. The ritual of bathing begins with intention. Before stepping into the water, pause to pray. Hold the basil leaves in your hand and speak words of cleansing. Ask God to use this act as a washing away of burdens. Invite His presence into the water. Just as Naaman stepped into the Jordan 7 times to find his healing in 2 Kings 5. He was not healed by water alone, but by obedience mixed with faith. In the same way, basil bath rituals are not about the leaf, but about faith. Faith that as you bathe, heaviness will leave, confusion will lift, and peace will cover you. As your body meets the water, let it be slow, intentional. Feel the warmth embrace you. Feel the basil touch your skin. Some choose to gently rub the leaves across their arms, their chest, their back, as though symbolically removing residue. Others simply sit and soak, letting the infused water cover them. In both ways, the bath becomes an exchange. You are giving away the stress, the negative energy, the residue of attacks, and receiving instead calmness, purity, and restoration. The spoken word in the bath ritual is powerful. As you wash, recite scripture, Psalm 23. 3, He restoreth my soul. Isaiah 1:16. Wash you, make you clean. Put away the evil of your doings from before mine eyes. John 7:38. Out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. Let these words become the voice that guides the ritual. Speak them softly. Let them flow with the sound of water, and in doing so you transform the bath into a sanctuary. One of the unique powers of basil bath rituals is the way they address unseen chains. Many believers describe spiritual heaviness as a film over the body, as if something unseen is weighing them down. When basil water is poured over the head and shoulders, there is often a sense of release. The mind clears, the chest feels lighter, and the body feels reset. This is not psychological alone, it is spiritual. Just as baptism symbolizes the washing away of the old, Basil baths symbolize the washing away of burdens. Each drop is like a reminder that God's cleansing is available. In the practice of basil bath rituals, it is common to bathe at transitional times, early morning before beginning the day, or late at night before resting. Mornings cleanse away the residue of dreams. Nights cleanse away the residue of daily encounters. In both cases, the ritual sets the stage for protection and peace. For those under spiritual attack, bathing before sleep is especially powerful. It drives away night terrors, it shields against dream manipulation, and it welcomes restful sleep. There's also power in repetition. Just as Naaman dipped 7 times, basil baths are often repeated over days. A single bath may refresh, but repeated baths restore. Some practice it for 3 nights, others for 7, depending on the intensity of what they face. With each repetition, the cleansing deepens layer by layer until the heaviness is gone. In the ritual, the leaves themselves carry symbolism. They are living, green, full of life. When crushed, they release fragrance, much like how brokenness releases prayer. When infused, they surrender their oils into the water, teaching us that true cleansing comes when we surrender ourselves fully. Basil becomes a teacher of surrender, reminding us that cleansing is not only external, but internal, letting go of grudges, fears, and hidden weights. Some enhance the basil bath by combining it with salt. Salt, already a biblical purifier, intensifies the ritual. When mixed with basil water, it not only cleanses but also seals, breaking chains and restoring covenant. Others add olive oil drops, making the bath a symbol of both cleansing and anointing. These additions do not replace basil but amplify its spiritual presence. The bath ritual also carries a prophetic dimension. As the water flows over the skin, it symbolizes the flowing away of attacks. Every stroke, every pour is like a prophetic act declaring, "This does not belong to me, it must go." It is a visible sign of an invisible warfare being won. The atmosphere after such a bath often feels lighter, calmer, and more secure. Children of faith often speak of how basil bath rituals bring back clarity. After bathing, prayers feel stronger, worship feels freer, and focus is restored. This is because the bath removes the residue that blocks sensitivity to the spirit. Just as a dusty window blocks sunlight, so a spiritually burdened body blocks divine flow. Basil baths wipe away the dust, making the soul clear again. And still, it must be repeated. The ritual is not about worshiping the plant. Basil has no power apart from faith and prayer. Its leaves are a channel, a vessel, a natural point of contact. Just as Moses lifted a bronze serpent in the wilderness as a point of healing, basil baths are a simple yet powerful point of faith in God's cleansing. When you step out of the water, do not rush. Allow yourself to air dry or pat gently, letting the water linger on your skin. In that stillness, whisper thanksgiving. You may feel lighter, calmer, freer. That is the sign that the ritual has worked, because cleansing is not only felt in the body, but known in the spirit. This is the beauty of basil bath rituals. They unite the physical act of bathing with the spiritual act of prayer. They make cleansing tangible. They make release visible. They make freedom experiential. They remind us that God can use even the smallest leaf to break the largest chain, that water infused with prayer can become a tool of deliverance, and that our bodies can carry the evidence of renewal. When we arrive at the end of a teaching such as this, We are not just summarizing what has been said. We are stepping back to see the bigger picture. The Basil bath ritual is more than water and leaves, more than fragrance and tradition. It is an act that invites us into a rhythm of cleansing, a reminder that life is not meant to be lived under layers of heaviness. Life is meant to flow. Just as rivers cleanse themselves by moving, so our spirits are cleansed when we allow what does not belong to us to be washed away. The conclusion of this topic cannot be separated from the reality that we are spiritual beings, clothed in physical bodies. What we carry within often manifests without. The sleepless nights, the anxious thoughts, the sudden irritations, the heavy silence. These are often not just moods, but signals that there is residue clinging to the spirit. Basil bath rituals become a response to those signals, a way to acknowledge that cleansing is needed and to step deliberately into it. At its deepest level, the ritual is a declaration of freedom. To pour basil water over yourself is to say, I refuse to remain bound. It is to reject the residue of envy, the chains of unseen curses, the dust of disappointments. It is a statement that says asterisk. This body is not a dumping ground. This soul is not a storage for pain. This spirit is not a prison. The bath is not about removing dirt alone. It is about removing ownership that darkness claims over you. You are God's, and the water says so. Another aspect of the conclusion is this. Basil baths teach humility. Think of how simple the ritual is. Leaves, water, prayer, no elaborate stage, no loud display, no heavy cost. And yet within that simplicity lies profound cleansing. This is the way of God. He hides greatness in small things. He wrapped healing in leaves. He placed deliverance in a touch of water. He hid redemption in the cross of wood. Basil bath rituals remind us that deliverance does not always arrive in dramatic scenes. It often comes in quiet acts of faith, in silence, in hidden places where only you and God are present. We must also reflect on the continuity of the practice. One bath may bring relief, but repeated cleansing builds a lifestyle. In the same way you do not bathe once in your life and remain clean forever, so in the spirit, repeated washing is necessary. Basil baths teach consistency. Just as prayer must be constant, so must cleansing be regular. The conclusion here is that the ritual is not an emergency response alone. It is also a discipline. To practice it regularly is to remain sensitive, to keep doors of your life clean, and to prevent residue from building up. The conclusion also carries a communal lesson. While the bath is deeply personal, its effect often extends to relationships and families. A cleansed person carries peace, and that peace influences others. Homes once tense become calm. Workplaces once heavy become lighter. Relationships once strained become smoother. The ritual proves that when one person takes responsibility to cleanse, others share in the fragrance of the freedom. It becomes a ripple effect of renewal. There is another perspective here, the prophetic symbolism. Every bath is a rehearsal of a greater washing that awaits us. Revelation 22:1-2 speaks of a river of life flowing from the throne of God, and trees whose leaves are for the healing of nations. Basil baths foreshadow this eternal reality. They whisper of a day when cleansing will be complete, when heaviness will be no more, when peace will not be temporary, but permanent. Until then, each bath is a practice in hope, a taste of what is coming, a prophetic act that says, asterisk. I align myself with the river of life now, even as I wait for it to flow in fullness. In closing, let us not forget that every ritual demands the right posture of heart. Without faith, it is just water. Without prayer, it is just leaves. But with faith, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. With prayer, the physical becomes spiritual. With expectation, the act becomes alive. The conclusion is not simply that Basil baths work, but that God works through them when faith is present. The leaf is not the source, it is the vessel. The water is not the power, it is the channel. God is the cleanser, and the ritual points back to Him. And so we arrive at the outro, the gentle leaving of this reflection. If you have listened and understood, carry this with you. Do not ignore the signals of heaviness. Do not normalize sleeplessness, confusion, or restlessness as if they were permanent. There is cleansing available. There is renewal available. Sometimes it does not come with thunder, but with water. Sometimes it does not come with noise, but with stillness. Sometimes it does not come through distant answers, but through leaves in your hand. Let the basil bath ritual remind you that freedom is closer than you think. It is in your obedience. It is in your willingness to prepare, to pray, to bathe, to believe. As you step into the water, let every drop remind you that chains are breaking. As the fragrance rises, let every breath remind you that peace is returning. As the water flows, let every stream remind you that you are being renewed. And when you rise from the water, do not rise the same. Rise lighter, rise clearer, rise freer. Step out not only with clean skin, but with a clean spirit. Carry that peace into your home, into your work, into your relationships. Let others sense the fragrance of freedom upon you. And let your life testify that God, who gave healing in the leaves, still gives cleansing today. This is the final word. Basil baths are not just rituals, they are encounters. Encounters with peace, encounters with clarity, encounters with God's gentle way of saying, I am still here, I am still cleansing, I am still making you new. Go forth with that knowledge, carry it as fragrance, as shield, as memory. And when the heaviness comes again, remember, the water still flows, the leaves are still alive, and the God who sanctifies them is still waiting to cleanse you.